All right, this is going to be a controversial one. New York City is making headlines for being the first town in North America to implement a congestion charge. What does that mean? Well, drivers are dinged $9 when they're moving through crowded areas. And according to the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, they've actually seen almost 50,000 fewer cars per day in the downtown.
Wow.
Yeah. So the question is, do we need something like this in our major cities here in Canada?
I think we do. I mean, Toronto is ridiculous. It is
Everyone's got a story, right?
Everybody.
And I will say that for my mental health, the day I decided to stop driving from the east end of the city to downtown, which is literally should be about a 20-minute drive, and sometimes took me up to 2 hours, depending on the weather, my mental health just opened up. I take transit every single day, and I love it. And so I think that if we want better transit system, how are we going to afford it? I think you do have to start charging for people. They have to do it sooner rather than later. It's only going to get worse, guys.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that I love that idea, and where transit works, it's great. Unfortunately, it's just not up to snuff. If I could reliably leave my car at home because I've got a great transit option, I would love to never drive again. I think we're made a little differently here. Every city is a little bit different.
Don't you think we only remember the times that transit doesn't work for us, and that the majority of the time it is very effective, but it's not.
Would you say the majority of the time?
It's not even about effectiveness. It's when you take a look that we essentially have two lines for a massive city. If you take a look at Paris's metro system, or London, or New York,
or
you don't need a car.
Or
Montreal. You don't need a car.
Toronto
if I need to get to a part of the city that is not serviced by the subway, I got to carve out 2.5 hours.
But how are we going to get there if we don't start now? Like, we should have started this conversation and this decision making like 100 years ago.
A lack of imagination, right?
A lack of imagination.
Are we taxed enough? Like, honestly, aren't we taxed enough?
We are taxed enough, but this is a way, of course. And listen, I do not want to be unsympathetic to the fact that we are living in like a crisis right now. People can hardly afford to put food on the table. Do they need an extra additional charge? But I will say that actually the cost, again, to go back to like mental health, to go back to like, the only way, parking is not cheap in a downtown core, okay? Gas is only getting more and more expensive. So when we talk about cost versus benefit,
Do you know where parking is free? At the GO train station.
Not mine.
If you took the GO train.
Not mine.
One!
Yeah, actually not mine either. Not mine either.
Not mine.
Yours isn't free.
No, you have to
Most
pay.
of the congestion is caused from people coming in, not from not from the east end, but mostly from the GTA, at least in Toronto, or cities outside of that. I take the GO train every day, and I feel if money was put in to make it better, faster, and more frequent, that people would
take
come.
it.
And also, to give us 240,000 people use the GO train every day. That's one less car on the road. I feel like I should be given something back, like a tax incentive.
Okay, I have another solution.
That's great.
I think we're forgetting there are other options on the table for us as commuters. Did you know that 85% of the cars that are commuting in and out of Toronto every day, 85% of them have only one person in them?
Yes.
So that means bring back carpooling. Think about it. Bring back carpooling. If there are 4 of us in one car, you've just taken 3 cars off the road. You've saved money. Mental health. You get to chat. You take turns driving. And number 2, there is another solution, because I don't want to just make problems. The other solution is what Rome has done. The last time I went to Rome, they had a colored license plate system. You could only come into the city when you had a certain color of a license plate. So then you would be forced to carpool. And so I think there is a way to do it without charging people money and still giving options.
But the congestion charge does work all across Asia, all across Europe. It's working.
But it's going to target low-income drivers. Like, that's the problem. Like, to me, I think it's an equity issue here.
Low-income drivers, how?
Because they're the ones who live outside the city because they can't afford to live in the city.
But wouldn't they be taking transit because it's cheaper?
They can't take transit. It doesn't hit everywhere, Jess. Like, you get the GO train, but it doesn't.
No, but there is transit in those cities. In Asia, particularly, has some of the best transit in the world.
It does, but
way
here,
better than ours.
But what I'm saying is, here we don't have it in the burbs.
Whenever I go someplace, I put in the transit route. It might mean I'm taking 2 buses, 2 trains, and a subway, but I do it.
Okay, but wait a minute.
But time is money.
It's less time.
Okay.
It's less time. It's $3.25.
Is it so? Because then you have to transfer to like
transfer. Sorry, I'm getting so.
I'll just say one more thing.
passionate about this.
I love this, defending it. I'll just say one more thing that I think employers need to think about is unless your type of work requires you to be at an exact time, we could start being more flexible, because I think what's happening is everyone's trying to go to work at the exact same time and leave. So if you have an opportunity as a leader to flex those hours up, that also would
And can
help.
we make it the same as a school day? Can we make our work day the same as a school day?
That's a whole other conversation. Oh my God.
Right?
Oh, open up in a can of worms.
Yeah, sorry. We'll talk about that later.
Okay. Who knew transit fired us off, man? Wow, I love it. I love it.
Hey, you, come a bit closer. We've got so many more must-see interviews, spicy debates, lifestyle tips, and pop culture moments. So subscribe to our channel by tapping the logo below and don't miss out.